Alright, I'm probably going to get this out while I still remember the events relatively fresh in my brain, but I attended TreeHacks 2024, which is a hackathon hosted at Stanford University, California, where essentially they take the top 7% of their applicants, which are usually the top, programmer, computer science people in the world, and then they fly them in from around the world, whatever random universities or countries they're in, and then they all come to Stanford for 36 hours, and they do a hackathon, which is essentially a program or an event for programmers where everyone just uses their knowledge of programming to create some form of hack, as they call it, which is, it could be a software, a hardware, an app, it's anything involving programming, and the ideas are really limitless. But more information on that is on the official website. You can look up TreeHack. It's basically just a hackathon at Stanford with the top tier hackers, and my brother got invited, so I went to check it out all the way in Stanford. What a great campus it was. But I'm here to mainly go over the event itself and the ideas that I saw there, which were all pretty interesting, and I should probably remember them because in the end, I'm pretty sure all of them are never used again, and they pretty much die after the event, and then I just want to remember them because I usually forget everything in a matter of a month anyway. So I'll basically just go through my entire freaking list because I had to write them all down. I didn't even see, there were all the tables were numbered with the different projects that were there, and there was, the highest number I saw was 400, so I'm assuming there were around 400 different programs and projects that were made at that event. But they have 36 hours to make an interesting idea, and 36 hours, you can work in a team, but my brother didn't because apparently it can be a mess. But some people had full teams of 4, which obviously they're going to get more work done. But I guess I'll just go through the ideas, starting with the stuff that I got to actually listen to and interact with the most, so I know the most about it, and then going down into stuff that I caught a glimpse of and have an idea of what they made. So CB Tree, this is my brother's creation, cognitive behavioral therapy, but it's tree instead for the hackathon theme. What I got from it was it's essentially an AI where you can input behavioral symptoms, because cognitive behavioral therapy, I'm pretty sure that's the most traditional, commonly known form of therapy. You input symptoms of behavioral symptoms, you're feeling anxiety or depressed, and then the AI will take your symptoms, diagnose you kind of unconsciously, and then give you back the best responses and treatments to those behavioral symptoms. So that's pretty much what I got from that. I mean, it's an interesting idea. Everything there was an interesting idea because it's the top of the best people, so they probably have pretty good ideas. But an AI that you input symptoms, get diagnosed, and get treatments back, that's definitely, I actually saw that a few times in plenty of other presentations. So it's definitely an interesting idea, definitely practical, but there were also other interesting ideas. So the second one that I got the most information out of was Babe, the best AI buddy, which is called Babe. And apparently they called it that because one of their members was single, so that's definitely creativity points. What I got from that was it's an AI that it deep analyzes your communications and messages with a specific person, and then it can get you information out of that you might need for a specific scenario. The example they gave me was, say your friend is having a birthday and you want to give them a present, so you have your AI scan your messages with them, and then it finds he likes skiing, maybe get him a skiing related present, and then it just uses, that was one of the examples they gave. Another one was it can analyze what was the door code he messaged me again? You use your AI to go analyze door code, and then it gives you a door code that he sent you from a specific time. And then there's probably countless ways you can use that. That's every idea that was given probably has a lot of countless possible ways to use them. But it's just deep analyzing communications or messages with a person, and then getting the information out of it that you might not have remembered and that you need at a specific time. But definitely interesting, and the name is 10 out of 10, so quality idea. The story AI, he called it the campfire. This guy was the most interesting to lure me into because he was hey, do you like stories? And I walked over and I'm sure, because I wanted to listen to his presentation. So he called it the campfire. He said, welcome to the campfire. That's the name. It's an AI, again, because everything there is AI for some reason. It's essentially what he presented was it gives you a hook. It generates an AI, a hook of a story. And then from that hook, you can kind of add elements to the story that you want. I want drugs and violence and guns into the story. So you can input that into the elements, and then the AI will be all right, let's implement some drugs and violence and guns into the story. And then basically you can take the elements you want in a story, and then tell the AI that you want these elements, and then the AI will generate the story with those given elements. I feel like that already exists, but it probably doesn't. But it's definitely an interesting idea. I just don't. It's not. It's definitely for the entertainment side of things, not for practical use. But I mean, if you're really into making stories and you want a specific theme stories around like some idea that you like, then I guess it's interesting. But it was like one of the more interesting ones, but also more like kind of pointless in my opinion. But I mean, it's a hackathon. You make anything cool. So the next one I saw, the CHAIR, the chair, but AI is in it, and they had to capitalize AI just to make the name look cooler. But this was the first one that I saw that was implementing hardware and software. They made a chair, they put sensors on the chair, and when you sit on the chair, it gives you a grade on how well your posture is. And then it basically just like deep analyzes your posture. It gives you a diagram, a picture, and then like a freaking statistics chart showing like how good your posture is doing as you like move around, and then it like gives you like some word out advice on the bottom. So I'm assuming that implements what you obviously need the sensors to connect to different like programs that analyze like what the sensors are detecting, so it actually like looks at your posture and then detects like they tried to like explain it to me, but I didn't really get it. They're like, oh, there's 30 I'm still freaking sick. They said there's like 36 bones in your body or in your back, and then there was like something like it analyzes your shoulders and like how well they're like positioned or something. It's a pretty interesting idea, but the actual program itself was like extremely laggy and like a bit confusing to look at. So great idea, but just the delivery was kind of odd. Like the whole chart was, I was just lost the whole time. But in the end, the only part I understood was the bottom left, where it gave a text box that was like, oh, your posture is like this, try to sit up straighter. But that's like pretty generic posture advice. So it was an idea that like didn't get executed very well, but it's still pretty interesting. Neuro Puppy. Oh yeah, they took the Boston Dynamics dog. I think that thing's like old news now. I want to find it again. The Boston Dynamics dog, like robot. Spot. Yeah, this guy. This guy is top tier. He's an absolute legend. I saw him in a Michael Reeves YouTube video, a weird computer guy, but it's essentially one of like the only bots that can like navigate terrain like live and like on its own. But I saw a lot of projects implementing this AI or this robot for some reason, probably because it's cool. But the one I looked at, Neuro Puppy, is essentially like a self-help dog that's like provides emotional support for like elderly people. It had a bunch of different functions, but it said it mainly was targeting like mental health disorders, like depressed people, to like provide emotional support in some way. I didn't get the whole idea behind how a robotic dog can provide emotional support, but I guess. And I saw a lot of like presentations that involve like mental health. I'm assuming they're trying to like get extra points for like saying, oh, our project is impactful because we're helping people with mental health disorders. So I'm assuming that was the idea. But Neuro Puppy, it said like partially it was for mental health, partially it was for dementia and old people, partially it was from like other things. It's just like a dog, a robo dog that overall serves plenty of purposes, which is obvious because a robo dog can have like countless purposes. You just kind of, I don't really know what they did with the dog to make it more interesting. They probably added a software like onto the brain that says like do these specific things, but like I didn't even like, they didn't even have a model. They just like had a presentation on a Chromebook. So like I don't know what they were really doing with that, but I mean it's an interesting idea. Obviously a robotic dog has a lot of possibilities with it, but I need to speed this up. Bookscan Roba AI. They called it Recollect. It's basically, that was another hardware software mixture. They had this weird contraption where there was a book, and then they had a machine that would like flip a page and then slam the book down so the pages stayed flat. And then there's a phone on top scanning the book. And I'm pretty sure what it does is it flips through the page robotically, all manually, and then the phone on the top is scanning the book the whole time. And at the end, they'll put it into a software and have an AI break it down into a summary that's like super well formatted. And at least that's what I assume it is. I didn't actually listen to the presentation. I like stood there for like 30 seconds, looked at this weird arm flipping pages, and I'm like, oh. And then I looked at the page that said like summaries, and I was like, okay, I got the idea. You have an AI, you have a robot flipping pages, analyzing a book, and then you can get a quick summary off of it, which is pretty cool, except for the fact that if you have a book, presumably it's like it's like a documented like published book, so why not just like find the e-textbook, the virtual book, and then just like put that into ChatGPT and then have that summarize it for you? Like it's a cool idea though. I'll give them credit for like the robotics, and I should not be judging because I know nothing about programming, but like I have opinions to give. But that was a pretty cool one, anyways. But Tree Lingo, this is reaching the point of ones that I didn't really interact with. I just saw the idea in the general like presentation. But Tree Lingo is literally Duolingo. I know that because under the motto was literally like learn languages faster. So I don't know what they did because I didn't interact with the presentation or what they made, but it's called Tree Lingo, and I'm assuming it's just they did something to revamp Duolingo or something like that. But Code Repair AI, it's in the name. I didn't look at it either. I'm assuming it just repairs it. From what I saw, or I can assume basically, it can analyze your code and just find like any errors, because everyone's code has errors occasionally. Everyone makes mistakes. So Code Repair AI, definitely an interesting idea as well. VR dating match. Oh god, I saw one called Love Beacon. It said like safe matchmaking or something. So that's just like, I'm assuming like a revamped Twitter or revamped Tinder, or like some dating like matchmaking type software. So like I didn't want to look at that, but I saw the name, so I figured I'd write it down. Another one I saw was like a VR date, which is such a weird idea, but like it actually won one of the awards later, so whatever, I guess it's cool. VR dating, I guess. But that was like two things I saw. I saw one called Instantgram. I put this one in. I have zero clue what Instantgram could be, but I saw the name Instantgram, so like I have no clue what it is, but it just sounded funny because Instagram. Everyone tried to make their name like cheesy. Cultural Recipes AI. That was the weird one I saw. I didn't interact with it either. But I saw the front. It had like a bunch of like racist AI generated cartoons of like different ethnicities as chefs. So the Italian had like a mustache, and like the Asian guy was like bald with like the long mustache, and the American was like making a burger, and this was all AI art. But at the front, that's the AI. They made a website, I think, and it's another AI where you input a cultural food that you want, and then maybe some food restrictions, and then it gives you the options. So the example they had on the presentation was like, I want Italian food, but I have a peanut allergy. And I'm assuming if you pressed enter, the AI would filter to Italian food recipes, and then they give you the peanut-free ones. And, you know, I'm assuming that's what it does. But obviously practical, but it also, I feel like you could do that on like ChatGPT or something. But like, it just seemed like you took an AI and kind of just like filtered it and just like, I don't know. I don't know what these programmers, like they all had AI, and I feel like a lot of them was just like, we made this AI take inputs and then just give an output that of like a specific category. But like, I guess it's interesting. Another one I saw, last one I have written down, is Fake Music AI. This was the most interesting one that I didn't interact with. I saw a speaker playing music, and I'm like, this is some nice music. And then I looked at the speaker, and it had a note that said, this music isn't real. And then I glanced at their presentation. I'm pretty much, the idea I got was they made an AI that generates artificial, like not artificial, they just make music on the spot, like just an AI that just makes music like on its own without any people. So assuming that's what the AI does, I'm kind of guessing, but I mean, they had a speaker blasting music and it said this isn't real. So like, I'm assuming it's an AI that makes music on its own without people, which is crazy to think about, because, you know, that reaches a point where like, why are there musical artists if an AI can just like make artificial music? But I don't know. They sounded like actually like semi-melodic and like decent to listen to. So I was like, whoa, no way an AI made this. But that was all the AI. That's all the things that I wrote down. And in the end, oh wait, did I not write down like the other? Okay, there was some I remember that like I didn't write down. Oh yeah, Baymax. Frick. Oh wait, I skipped like a whole row. Okay, Baymax. They made this little arm that like delivers food to medical hospital people who don't have access to their hands, because apparently that's a really wide known scenario. If you don't have your hands, you get this little robot that's like super good at tracking your mouth, and then it like feeds you medicine, which it seemed really basic when I initially saw it, but it won like the first place. Yeah, it won first place, which is $10,000. A little arm that like, I'm assuming it has a camera, so it takes the input of your mouth, and then it like its arm will not then move based on the software, you know, however mechanics and programming work together, and then it like will keep moving with the live camera until it's like in your mouth, and when you bite down, the camera will detect it, and then it releases the medicine, and then you can chew on it like a normal person. But it's definitely practical and useful and like good for normal situations, but I don't know, it just seemed kind of brain dead. And at that point, you can have like a person deliver your food, no, but like it was interesting and it won first place, so like obviously it was something interesting. Good Samaritan, it uses VR to implement first aid, so like if you don't know what you're doing, you put on your VR goggles and it like says freaking put this person on their side because they can't breathe. And then they did a weird demonstration. It was like kind of like funny to look at, but basically they used VR to give a clueless person directions on how to like properly like resuscitate a person and like give CPR or something. So like, yeah, you can like educate people on how to give proper first aid treatment. So I mean, it should save lives if that's actually implemented, and it won a few awards. So I'm assuming it's a good idea. And then better TikTok. I have no clue how this is remotely like a hack. I didn't remember the name, but it was essentially they started their hook with kids nowadays are too TikTok driven and social media driven, so they just scroll TikTok and digest useless content. Now introducing whatever the frick their name was, this new social media form that gives you educational TikToks, and then they did an example scrolling through their software where it gave you like educational and like productive TikToks where it was like how to solve for X in this scenario or how to replace this pipe, and I'm like, that's pretty educational. It was actually like it's obviously practical, a better form of TikTok that's not brain dead. It's definitely helpful, but it's pretty much my dad's feed of TikTok, because if you like try to like if you organize your feed to like educational things, then you'll get educational things. But I guess if kids don't want to do that, then you can give them a software that automatically gives them educational things, and then they'll get used to that automatically. So like it's like a good idea. All the things honestly are a good idea. It's just like 36 hours to make a quick program, or with programming and like whatever your knowledge you have, that's pretty impressive. But yeah, there were $160,000 in prizes. Freaking Ethereum prize was there, so I don't know. I don't want to go over the awards. That was a bit bland because half of the programs that won awards I didn't even know what they were. That just shows how many programs there were. Out of like the 400, I probably only understood like 20, if even 20. But like I ran through the whole thing and I like barely looked at any out of the 400, and those are like the top programmers in the world supposedly. So like it was definitely a good experience. I got to see a lot of programmer skill and just like implementation of AI, because apparently AI is the new revolutionary thing, which makes sense, I guess. But I saw cool stuff, and TreeHack was cool, and I stole from the snack bar and got a cool aloe drink and also some garbage tea. So overall, it was a 10 out of 10. Good experience. I enjoyed it very much. I got to learn a lot of interesting programs and see honestly a very cool environment, because computer science programming like type environment, you're honestly a kind of a bit of a geek after entering that type of knowledge base that you want to pursue, but you also leave like a really interesting person. Like everyone there was like, they just had a positive, like forward moving, innovative energy to them. They're like, oh, this is what our AI is, this is its limitations, but this is what it can do right now, and then this is what it might be able to do in the future. Like everyone just had like an innovative, positive, forward pushing mindset. So it was just interesting to get to know the people, mostly Asian and Indian people, but very interesting nonetheless. Overall, fun experience. Top tier, Stanford.